Hello and welcome back to the Way Home Podcast. My name is Annie Bender and I'm a local realtor with the Weymouth Group of Keller Williams Realty Center in Maryland.
And I'm Chris Weymouth, director of the Weymouth Group and also broker designee for Keller Williams Realty Center in Maryland.
Thank you so much for being with us today. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this fun and or entertaining. Today's topic is a fun one and it's titled, I Bought a Home, Now What? And it's going to be all about switching from a renter mindset to a homeowner mindset with 3 money-saving applications. So first tip is easy and you only have to do it once. It's the homestead tax credit. So it sounds fancy, but basically the homestead tax credit limits the increase in taxable assessments each year to a fixed percentage.
Well, it is something that a lot of people don't take advantage of. It's also something that a lot of real estate agents are not aware of and how to figure it out. I mean, to be very frank and very honest, we actually had to make a couple of calls just to make sure that what we communicate to our audience out there is accurate information, but it's important.
Shameless plug for Assurance Title. If you work with them, they will actually let you know at the closing table that you need to apply for the Homestead Credit Act when you are purchasing a primary residence. And you can apply as soon as your deed is recorded, which will vary in timing. And then it will actually take place once you've been living in the property for 1 year.
If I can just add one thing, speaking of once your deed is recorded, it's a small cost-saving thing. But when you settle on your home, you're going to be getting a copy of your deed, and you're going to get a notice from the county saying it's been recorded. You also will get a letter from somebody saying that, hey, for $60, $120, we will send you a copy of your deed. Ignore that. I mean, what the title company does for you is they will get you your deed, a copy of it, once it's recorded for free. So ignore that letter. Ka-ching.
There's your little bonus money-saving tip. Don't fall for the scams. They are real, and we do get calls once people close on their house. They're like, I just got this mail. Am I supposed to pay for my deed?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, and it's not illegal. It's not illegal, but you know, there's people out there who will take advantage of it.
So back to I can't say this. Homestead tax credit.
Like it's easier said than done.
Homestead tax credit. All right. So back to homestead tax credit. Property taxes are paid based off of the assessed value of your home. And in Maryland, properties are reassessed every 3 years with a notice of increase going out in December.
And we've seen increases like, wow, ka-ching.
Yeah. So especially, I mean, if we're talking about over the past 3 years, those increases could be quite hefty when it comes to your tax bill. So the way this works is, I'll do an example for you. Let's say your home's current assessed value is $100,000 and the new assessed value is going to be $120,000. But if you applied for the homestead tax credit, an increase of 10%, which would be the cap, would result in an assessment of $110,000. So they use the actual new assessed value and subtract the 10% increase value. So you take $120,000 minus $110,000, you get $10,000. And the tax credit would apply to the taxes due on that $10,000. So if the tax rate was $1.04 per 100 of an assessed value, the tax credit would be $104. So you only have to do it one time, and it's for your principal residence here in Maryland. So it's just something you can do once you settle on the home, once your deed is recorded. Just get it out of the way, and you can be saving money for years to come. Next up, we have home maintenance. And under home maintenance, we're going to talk about several different things. There's a laundry list of things we could talk about with home maintenance, but we're going to talk about the most important things that we could think of to create habits in your first year of owning that home. And a very important aspect of home maintenance is grading.
Yes, and what we should do is make a distinction between new construction and also homes that are resale.
Mm-hmm.
The maintenance of both of those are similar but cannot be any more different. That might sound like it's opposite of each other, but it is true.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, grading. Grading is very, very important when you're doing, when you're looking at your new construction and also resale. If you don't have the proper grading on your home, it could cost you literally thousands of dollars down the road in cost of water infiltration in the basement. So let's use new construction, for example. You're going to get settling around the home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to make sure, because when they do the construction of a home, they dig the foundation, they dig out at least 5 to 7 feet outside the foundation, and then they put the dirt back in, and that's going to settle. And when it settles, it'll settle down
Mm-hmm.
towards the home. So just throwing some more dirt in and things like that are very, very, very important.
Yeah, the general rule is the ground should drop 1 inch for every foot that you move away from the house for the first 5 to 10 feet around your house.
Mm-hmm. That's important. And because water will get down, if it's an old home, and these old homes don't have sump pumps. And if they don't have sump pumps, they don't have a French drain. Typically, if they don't have a French drain, that water is going to seep in through the basement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have sump pumps and French drain systems in. So when the water comes down on the basement, it is actually going into the French drain and going to get pumped out. All homes have that. But the better grading you have, the less chance of water infiltration into your basement.
And in addition to grading, we'd also advise that you extend your downspouts at least 6 feet away from your house. And most inspectors will tell you this too when they're there. But I actually had a client who purchased a home, and he was having leaks in his basement. And we're like, is it the toilet? Like, we're trying to help him figure out what it was. And then when the plumber came, he looked outside and saw that the neighboring townhouse had a downspout that was just cut off at the bottom. And there was a little pool that was just, it was slowly dripping into that little pool, and we had snow melt and everything like that. And he's like, he just grabbed the rest of the downspout, reattached it. He's like, nah, you shouldn't have a leak. And he hasn't had a leak.
Yeah,
just because water was sitting next to the foundation.
Yeah, there's some companies out there who will go through the whole rigmarole trying to figure out, and then sometimes the estimates and the work that they do are not required.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple downspouts are so simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Simple and can save you thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also with new construction, they're taking those downspouts and actually connecting them to a stormwater management system. So sometimes they're buried.
Yes.
And they'll get buried into a stormwater management system, so all problems solved.
Mm-hmm. So if you bought a new house and you're wondering where your downspouts are, that's probably where they are, underground. So then next up, we have termite infestations, because moist soil near your foundation can actually also lead to termite issues. So in protecting your foundation, you're also protecting yourself from termites. But what else should homeowners do to protect their home from termites?
Again, we brought up the distinction between new construction and resale, and completely different mindset when it comes to termites. And what that would entail with new construction, your home is built in such a way, you remember we talked about the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. And the foundation and the dirt around the foundation is poured back in. They actually treat that dirt around the foundation with, that wasn't me. They actually treat that dirt for termite and wood destroying insects, and then they fill it back in. So you have created a barrier. Then the sill plate that goes on top of the poured concrete or the block, that sill plate is actually pressure treated, but it's also treated with arsenic. And they used to do arsenic in decks, and they don't do it anymore because it's very poisonous. But that board is there, and for 10 years at least, you're not going to get, and that's where the insects come in, through that sill plate. And so they're not going to infiltrate there. So that's the first 10 years. You really don't have to worry about the first 10 years of new construction. To prevent termite or infestation of any wood-destroying insects, any homes 10 years or older, just walk around the perimeter. Avoid doing mulch around the foundation. The other thing, if you have a wood-burning stove or a wood-burning fireplace, don't stack your wood in the home, in the garage. Do not install it up against the home, because that's just leading the termite to come right on in there. What I've done in our home, we thought we had termites around the garage, And of course, we panicked a little bit. And then when it came out, the pest control company came out and said, no, you don't have termite. But what you should do is you ought to install these traps. And these traps are bait traps. And what happens is that the termites will come towards the home, take the bait and carry it away, and take it to the nest off for the house, away from the home. And we have those. We have maybe around 20 around the home. And they keep on coming back every 3 to 4 months. And they fill in the bait trap. And we've had no problems with that. And the other thing we have to be aware of is that once you have termites, it can affect the value of your home. You'll notice that in the contract, there used to be in the contract that used to have the seller was required to inspect for termites and pay for a certain percentage. No longer, but it is. Sometimes you'll have FHA or VA lenders require termite or wood destroying insect inspections. If you find that they've already gotten inside the home, and they can do some real damage, especially to floor joists. And when you got floor joist damage or things of that nature, it's very, very costly. So keep track.
Next on our list, we have roof inspection. So when I help buyers and the inspector looks at the roof, even if we know the age, they always recommend having a licensed roofer come out and evaluate the roof as well. And why do you suppose that is?
Well, roofs are really subjected to the elements more so than anything else. They're the first line of defense for your home. And they're not that complicated of a system. They really aren't. Those systems are fairly simple. And what makes the one roof better than the other would be the type of shingle that you get. And we have a 50-year shingle on our roof here. And they're probably, we have maybe around 15 years left on our shingle. And we noticed that when I went into my walk-in closet, there was a leak around the recessed light. And I said, well, we don't have the second story because we have a rancher. And I'm, well, that's a leak. And so the first thing I do is I get an idea where that recessed light was, walk outside, and it was a stack pipe for exhaust of the fumes for a bathroom. And then immediately I deducted, it's the flashing. So the first things that typically fail on a roof is not necessarily if, of course, you have high winds, the shingles will come off, but the infiltration is going to happen around an area where the roof has been compromised. Stack pipes, for one, they're coming up through the roof. Another infiltration is a chimney, flashing around there. The other one is skylights. That's an infiltration. And so when you have the roofs not properly, the flashing is installed right, you're going to get water coming underneath, and that's exactly what the stack pipe I had in my home, and it was just leaking, and it causes damage, and eventually you can have mold or anything like that, but you definitely want to get those taken care of immediately, because a simple fix, and just get your roof looked at every year, and just get it checked and fix the flashing. So important.
So the next two tips that we have are actually going to be maintenance tips and energy efficiency tips. Mm-hmm. So first up is going to be HVAC maintenance, and part of that is setting up a maintenance plan with an HVAC company.
Oh, the money well spent.
And who do you use? B&B?
We use B&B.
Okay.
Yeah. So, real nice guys. I just love when they come out. They remember you. They like you. And even if the first time they were at our house, they've done some research and they say, oh, we know the Weymouths. We like them. And so they're also our preferred contractor, and we recommend to our sellers to get their home, work on their own HVACs and systems, and also to buyers.
So along with having a maintenance plan for your HVAC, you also want to make sure that you're changing your filters regularly. And I feel like there's some debate on what regularly means. I guess it can vary if you have pets or how many people are in the house, things like that. But if you're changing your filters regularly, you can reduce your system's energy usage by up to 15%.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Yep.
So be sure to change those filters. And this has reminded me that I have to go home and change my filters. Okay. Number, well, it's not number 2. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in our list of home maintenance, and then this is going to be number 2 of energy efficiency tips as well, is going to be caulking and insulation. And I do have some stats for you here. So sealing air leaks around your home and adding insulation are going to be some of the 2 most cost-effective ways to improve your energy efficiency and comfort of your home. The EPA estimates that homeowners can save an average of 15% on heating and cooling costs, or an average of 11% on total energy cost by sealing their homes and adding insulation to the attics, floors over crawl spaces, and basements.
Yes. So if you have a heating and cooling cost of $300 a month, you calculate 11 to 12% per year, that's $400 for the entire year you're saving. And what's nice about just caulking is that most of the other things we've talked about, you have to hire a professional. This is stuff you can do. Mm-hmm. So put it on your calendar.
Get your caulking gun out.
Yes. Every fall, every spring, just check it. Just walk around your windows. You're going to see some caulking shrinking. The other thing is I have concrete that comes against my house, and that's the other thing, making sure that concrete is caulked, because the water will get behind there, and when it freezes, it lifts the concrete and cracks, and it gets ugly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then also with insulation, I mean, I feel like that's something you can DIY, but it's definitely easier to have someone come out and just do that for you. Yeah. But according to Energy Star, 9 out of 10 homes in the U.S. are under insulated.
Wow.
Is yours under insulated?
Yeah.
Is yours under insulated?
Probably.
So, I mean, those are pretty, in the scheme of things, pretty inexpensive fixes to save you tons of money.
It's easy.
In the long run.
Right. And so from the amount of money that you spend to insulate your home, for instance, is going to last you 5-10 years. The cost savings is just amazing.
Yeah. So, and then last on our list of our 3 money-saving applications, tip number 3 is talking about improvements. And I know that you said that there's 2 types of improvements.
Yes, 2 types. Those that you're going to really love living in, and those you're going to need to do to fix up your home. So, for example, you have an older bathroom with a 6x6 or 8x8 tile, white tile, recessed oak doors on your bathroom cabinets, and you got your brass fixtures on your shower. You're not going to put 30 to 40 grand into the bathroom. I mean, who would do that? You would just go ahead and fix up the fixtures, maybe paint the cabinets. If the tiles are cracked, then you might have to change the tile. However, and you only do that right before you're going to move out. But if you're going to be in that home another 5 to 7 to 10 years, yeah, go for it. If you have the money, you can afford it, and you want to live in it, you're going to really enjoy that bathroom or enjoy that kitchen, don't put in level 4 Italian grade marble. Put in level 1, plain Jane vanilla or white and gray.
Also, pools.
Ooh.
We talked about this a little bit, because you really have to think about how much you and your family are going to enjoy that pool, not necessarily about the value that you're going to get when you sell the house.
Yeah,
because
so 2 schools of thought. Go ahead.
We were talking about pricing, and
yes.
I want to know what you think about pricing.
Well, pools are definitely a lifestyle thing. Mm-hmm. That is definitely a lifestyle thing. And when you are a buyer and you say, I'm willing to buy a house with a pool, you're willing to spend $100,000, $120,000 more with a house that has a pool. You've got the young kids. With COVID, pools were all the rage. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get a pool contractor for 3 years out.
Yeah.
So if you want a pool, you're going to use it. Make sure you get a really good one. Do a saltwater pool. It's important. If you can spend just a little, maybe $5,000 to $8,000 more and get it heated, that way you can expand the use of it instead of opening a pool in May and you can't use it until July, mm-hmm. and then you're closing in September. It's not worth it. Mm-hmm. However, if you can put in a decent sized pool with the salt water, which is really great for medicinal purposes, and then you're going to use it, go ahead. But Don't fool yourself. The appraiser is not going to give you that value of $150,000 for that pool. In order to reproduce the pool that I have, my house, which was put in 1990 or something like that, to recreate it today, it would be $250,000. The appraiser only gave me a value of $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So don't expect to get it back in the appraisal. But you just might get that buyer who's going out there, I got to have a pool. All right? Because the kids want the pool. The wife wants a pool. The husband wants a pool. Grandma wants a pool. Uncle Bob wants the pool.
The dog wants a pool.
The dog wants the pool. Yes. So yeah, the years of enjoyment we've got out of this pool, and also what I like it as a parent, it kept the kids around too. You guys, had Jordan and you hung around the house more, and you brought friends, and it was so cool seeing your friends come around. So you really can't put a measure of like that as far as the value of the pool.
And now the dogs use the pool more than anyone else.
They do.
So yeah, when it comes to improvements, it's all about thinking about how long you're going to be living there and your enjoyment factor, what's going to be the most important, not necessarily trying to get value out of it in the end.
Right. You have a buyer who's looking to buy a home. They're only going to be here for 4 to 5 years. No, you're going to get a pool membership. You're not going to install a pool. And don't do an above ground pool because it's just not the same. Because when they put an above ground pool, although it might be cheaper, when you you got to really do that ground up really nice, put stone, and you dig around 3 or 4 inches on the ground, and then thinking that, I can just pull it out. And when you pull that pull out, it's like, what am I going to do with that hole?
Yeah. It slowly turns into a...
It does. Yeah. It's just nasty. Then, it's not good.
So that wraps us up for today. Like we said, it was short. It was sweet. It was everything you needed for your first year of home ownership, or maybe just a reminder if you've been living in a home for a while. We'll also release this list on our blog, on our new website at theweymouthgroup.com. So be sure to keep your eyes out. We'll put the link in the description below. And thank you again so much for joining us today. If you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you or anyone you know is looking to buy or sell, we can help you here in Maryland. And we can also help you find an amazing agent anywhere in the country.
Yes. And also look into our commercial division. Boy, that's exploding.
Yeah. So with that, we will see you next time. And be sure to keep your eyes out because we're going to have some really fun guests and episodes coming very soon. Puppy, speak. 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 Good girl. You speak, Chris?
Speak. Woof.
Okay. And it sounds pretty fancy, but basically the homestead tax credit limits the increase.
Real easy.
It's easy to do. It's not easy to say. Okay.